Maybe you are sitting in your familiar living room right now, watching the sky turn to dusk through the window, and an old thought suddenly finds its way back to you. It is a decision from 20 years ago, a word that should have stayed unspoken, or an opportunity you let slip through your fingers. You ask yourself, if I had done things differently, would I be happier now? That slight ache in your chest, the heaviness of those two words, if only, it turns a peaceful afternoon into a shade of grey. If you know that feeling, if you are carrying a piece of heavy luggage from the past and don't know where to set it down, this video is for you. Welcome to Buddha's path to peace. We are not here to lecture you. We are here to find the stillness together. Many people tell you, just forget it, or move on. But the truth is, regret is not a mistake that needs an immediate fix. Regret is actually a form of love, but it is a love with nowhere to go. You regret because you care. You regret because the version of you today is wiser than the version of you in the past. So, please understand this. Regret is not proof that you are a bad person. It is proof that you are a human being with a heart. In our modern society, we are taught to optimize our lives. If something isn't perfect, we see it as a failure. But in ancient wisdom, life is not a math problem to be solved with perfect numbers. It is a river to flow through. That lingering guilt you carry, let's call it the unfinished business of the heart. You don't need to force yourself to move on. You only need to learn how to sit with it without letting it suffocate your present. In Buddhism, there is a very simple concept that can completely change how you look at your past. It is called the second arrow. Imagine an unfortunate event from your past. The mistake you made is the first arrow that struck you. It caused a wound. It caused pain. That is what happened, and we cannot change it. But then, we use our minds to shoot a second arrow, a third, and thousands more into that very same wound. The second arrow is self-torment. It is the voice saying, "Why was I so foolish?" Or, "My life should have been better." The Buddha taught that we cannot avoid the first arrow of life, but we have the absolute power to refuse to shoot the second arrow into ourselves. Why is this true? First, the past is a vanished reality. It only exists as electrical pulses in your brain right now. Second, you today have insights that the you of 20 years ago did not have. Judging a younger person with the experience of an older one is simply unfair. And third, every event is the result of thousands of conditions. You were only a small part of that web. You could not control every outcome. Remember this phrase: pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. I want to tell you about a woman named Kisa Gotami. Her story has existed for over 2,500 years, but her pain is very modern. Kisa lost her only son. She could not accept the truth. She carried her son's body throughout the village, knocking on every door, asking for medicine to bring him back. Her neighbors looked at her with pity. They said, "Kisa, the child is gone." But she wouldn't listen. She regretted not protecting him. She agonized because everything ended too soon. Finally, she found the Buddha. He looked at her with great compassion and said, "I can help you, but you must bring me a handful of mustard seeds, taken from a home where no one has ever died." Kisa was filled with hope. She went to the first house. "Do you have mustard seeds?" "Yes. But has anyone died in this house?" The owner replied sadly, "The living are few, but the dead are many, dear lady." She went from house to house. It was the same everywhere. One home had lost a father, another a friend, another a beloved husband. As the sun set, Kisa sat by the roadside, watching the city lights flicker and go out. She suddenly realized, pain and regret do not belong to her alone. They are part of the breath of humanity. She laid her son's body down, not because she stopped loving him, but because she finally understood the law of letting go. And what Kisa Gotami found in that darkness is exactly what you can find today. You see, we are just like Kisa. We wander through the hallways of our memory, trying to find a medicine to change what is already gone. And I want to ask you a sincere question. How long have you been carrying that body of the past? Are you using your precious present, this breath, this sunlight, only to serve a ghost that has already vanished? Buddhism doesn't tell us to be emotionless. It teaches us radical acceptance. Accepting that everything happened exactly the way it had to happen, based on all the human flaws and limitations present at that time. Regret is a desperate attempt by the mind to control the past. But the price of that control is your peace in the here and now. There is a question I know you often ask yourself during sleepless nights. If I could do it over, would I be a better person? The answer is, you are allowed to feel heartbroken. You are allowed to feel regretful. But you are also allowed to forgive yourself. Listen closely to 3 things your regret is trying to tell you. First, it says that you have grown. You only feel regret because you have climbed to a new height and looked down at the mistakes in the valley. Be grateful for that growth. Second, it says you still have the capacity to love. You regret because you once wanted the best for someone else or for yourself. Your heart is still warm. Third, it says it is time to practice compassion, not for anyone else, but for the person sitting in your body right now. You have been hard enough on yourself. Life has been difficult enough already. You don't need to be your own worst enemy anymore. Before we finish, I want to offer you a small practice, a ritual to help you start setting down your handful of mustard seeds. Find a comfortable position. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Place your right hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your hand through your clothing. Inhale deeply. Send that breath to the tightest place in your chest. And as you exhale, silently repeat these words after me. I will go slowly, and you let the vibration of the words sink into your mind. I accept the person I used to be, with all the limitations and fears I had then. I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. I release the weight of yesterday to embrace the lightness of this moment. Take one more breath. It is over. You are here. You are safe. That is all. You don't need to do anything more. We began this conversation with the image of a lonely afternoon filled with if-onlys. I hope that now, when you look out your window, the darkness no longer feels heavy. Darkness is simply the resting of the light. Your past, despite its scars, has brought you here so that we could connect through these words. You are a lotus flower that has risen from the mud of painful experiences. Don't let old arrows hurt you again. Sleep well tonight, because you deserve peace. May you always be protected by compassion. May your soul be as light as a passing cloud. If this video meant something to you, if it felt like the warm hug you needed today, please consider subscribing so we can meet again next week. Your presence is a precious gift to this small channel. In our next episode, we will explore the art of letting go, what Buddhism actually means by this. We will learn how to release not just the past, but the anxieties about the future that weigh on your shoulders. If you would like to hear more reflections on stillness, the Buddhist Wisdom playlist on your screen is waiting for you. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you again in peace.